So I was talking to my aunt, and she told me something so devastating that I had to share it with you all. Welcome to the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. Now, what could my aunt possibly tell? This is another aunt. I have, by the way, 15 aunts and uncles on one side of the family. Big family, right? So she said 50 years ago, her sister slashed the face of her husband from the crown of his head to the bottom of his chin. It required 72 stitches to put his face back together. Now, what would drive a woman to do such a thing? Well, he needed money to register his car. My aunt, his wife, would not give him any money because she knew that he would never repay the bill. She informed her sister that he would not repay the bill, so she should not give him the money. But she went ahead and gave him the money. Now, when he did not pay her, she went over to the house and did the deed. A year later, on her wedding night, she was arrested and thrown in jail. Now, my aunt told her husband to just go drop the charges because the two of them were in the wrong. This set up a lifelong hatred between the two. He did drop the charges. So my question was, of course, even with him dropping the charges, the police let your sister go? Because then it becomes a crime against the people, and the people don't want violent criminals walking around. And this is what my aunt said. The police have never and will never, ever prosecute any sort of crime against a black person. I just want that to sink in just for a second. So there is no people versus black person. There's only black person versus black person, taking them to court, pressing charges, blah, 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 blah. There is no people versus black person. Now, what are the ramifications of such a situation that's across the board? It doesn't matter how much money you don't have, how much money you do have if you're black. That means that people who would have been taken off the street and are black are not taken off the street and are black. I want you to read Michelle Alexander, her book called The New Jim Crow. In that, she states a stat. 75% of all black men in jail, in prison, in the penal system, on probation, 75% of them are there for simple marijuana possession. What does that mean? That means that any sort of violent black person or any sort of other serious crime, I don't consider a simple marijuana possession to be a serious crime, is free to do whatever, except for maybe the really serious cases where I guess they just have to do a people versus criminal black person number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 200. The war on drugs really is the new Jim Crow. The link will be in the description for you to order that if you want so choose to order it and read it. This means that this is probably 90% of the cause of any black and black crime. Now, I don't want all of you all to even listen to anybody who says, oh, there's all this black and black crime. There is more white on white crime than all of the other races combined in the United States. Native American, Black, Asian, Latino, Middle Eastern, all combined. They do not report it. They rarely show it on the news. And even when they do report something about white on white crime in the news, they use language and words that are so general, so innocent sounding. They'll say stuff like, a man was caught falling through the ceiling of a local deli to rob the place. A man was caught falling through the local. It's as if he were an angel falling from heaven, and all of a sudden it just happened that he was doing some sort of criminal activity, but they don't couch it in language that is actually accusatory. Whereas the same cannot be said if the person perpetrating any sort of such thing is a black person. And this, if you pay attention, I want you to pay attention to the news. I want you to, if you pay attention to the news, I want you to then write down write yourself a note, and I want you to write yourself. And if the report is really general, I want you to guesstimate if the person is black or white. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show. Now, this is not excuses. This is an observation of real life data that the police do not prosecute black on black crime. They will prosecute marijuana. They will prosecute prosecute crack. Remember, those are two separate things. What did Michelle Alexander say? 75% of black men in jail, in prison, in the penal system, on probation, are all there for simple marijuana possession. That doesn't include any other drug. So you thinking that the other 25% are there for some sort of violence? Nope. You then have to go through all of the other drugs. And people have been asking me to do something to take marijuana off of Schedule 1. I don't know if I have such a power. If you want Shikama to try and somehow take marijuana off the Schedule 1, leave a comment below. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to reach 100,000 subscribers. Thank you.